I have cat hair all over this shoulder, but I didn't realize it till just now. Hi everybody, thanks for coming back for another video. This is going to be a big one, and it's something that I'm nervous about. I've been trying to get it right for a while. I think I've created a whole new type of makeup challenge, and today I want to tell you all about it. So I've talked about on my channel before, I think all of us, sometimes at least, feel some kind of guilt for having more makeup than we need. We're like, here's a shiny thing, or here's an interesting color, or a novel idea for an eyeshadow palette, I don't know. But we kind of have this like, ugh, I don't really need this kind of thing. And then that leads to the question, can I even use all of this when you see the collection as a whole? Buying makeup and wearing it are kind of two different things. The buying is like the shopping and the anticipation when it's coming in the mail and like brand new, and you open it and it's like a present every time. And then using it, well, absolutely just as fun and enjoyable and and satisfying. We often gravitate towards products that are our favorites, and then a lot of other stuff gets ignored. You know how it is. But I'm not going to stop buying makeup. I mean, it's just inevitable. So I started wondering, especially inspired by my project pan, where you try to use up the makeup until you hit the pan at the bottom. I started wondering, how long would it actually take me to use all of my makeup? Like, not necessarily finish it or hit pan, but just to use all of it, to touch it all once. This idea occurred to me probably about a year ago, maybe more, and I started with eyeshadow. I did a video where I counted every single eyeshadow pan and every single eyeshadow single that I had. So all palettes, all like ColourPop Super Shocks, all little jars of glitter, or like all of it. I'll let you watch that to see how many it added up to. No surprise, since that video and that total, I have more. I have about 500 more eyeshadow pans. Not palettes, but pans in those palettes, or singles. I'll tell you that new total in a minute here. But ever since that, eyeshadow pan total video, I've been thinking about, like, how could I use that data for a project? What can I do with it? What can I do with this information? Like, I don't want it to just be, oh, I counted them and that was it. It was just bugging me in my little brain. And I think I figured out a way now to actually start tracking how many of those pans I've used to see how long it takes me to touch every single one. I have hope that at some point I will have used every eyeshadow in my collection. Now that inspires me to declutter as soon as possible. And I know that the number of eyeshadow pans is going to increase. I've been practicing, reworking, figuring out a way to keep track of what I've used versus what I have. I haven't been able to find a project like this anywhere else online, so I created a hashtag for it. It's going to be hashtag all the things, but then separately I'm also going to say eyeshadow edition. All the things is a phrase that I say all the time, and I actually tracked it back to apparently the original cartoon that it came from. Ali Brosh wrote a book called Hyperbole in a Half that's kind of a compilation of some of these cartoons that she drew. You'll probably recognize it if you see it. It's very simply drawn, but it's hilarious. So I decided to go ahead and take that all the things, because that's how I feel about this project. It's all the eyeshadow. But I may do a lipstick version or something else later on, so I'm just going to do hashtag all the things, and then separately eyeshadow edition. Maybe I'll do hashtag eyeshadow edition. I don't know. I'll have to explore. I don't want to steal anybody's project, but I couldn't find one, so I couldn't find an existing hashtag. So how am I going to do this? How am I going to touch every single eyeshadow pan in the collection? Let me tell you. After I counted them all, but manually, by hand, I realized that a spreadsheet could do that for me. I don't know why I didn't realize that in the beginning. I guess because it meant I had to put every single eyeshadow palette in a spreadsheet and then add up all the pans that way. But honestly, because I'm such a makeup nerd, when I receive a product, use a product, declutter a product, I keep all of this in a spreadsheet already. And it's every single product. So, you know, all of these makeup items, plus skincare, plus hair care, plus, you know, anything else beauty related, other than like organizers and stuff like that. So I realized I could just take the eyeshadow, copy it to a new spreadsheet, a new tab in that spreadsheet, put how many pans were in each one painstakingly, but then they were in there, and all I needed to do if I got more was just add them to the spreadsheet. And then I had, it's not Excel, but it's, you know, one of the spreadsheet programs, I had that program add them all. And that way I kind of have a running total of how many I have at any given time. I work with spreadsheets all day with my job, so I don't know why I didn't think that it could just add it up for me. I can also do things like take the average, you know, size palette and all kinds of things. So it's going to take some nerdy work, but I mean, that's like my whole personality, so that's fine. So other than the spreadsheet though, how I'm going to keep track of what I've actually used, I knew I wasn't going to stop and put in a spreadsheet like which pans I've used or anything like that, however. And I did kind of ask the universe for help on YouTube for some suggestions, and I got a lot of good ones. But what ended up happening is that I ended up just wanting to use the plastic sheet that comes with these palettes, and I just use a Sharpie marker and I put a check mark on the ones that I've used. That way, anytime I open it, I can also see like, okay, what haven't I used? Can I use these creatively? Something like that. However, it led to other discoveries. Like if I really, really love a shade, I can put a little heart on there. Also, the Sharpie marker erases with alcohol, so I can always just wipe it off if I don't end up wanting them on there. If they don't have a plastic insert and I don't have an extra one that I can cut out, I'm making, and I have made, a grid like this for every palette. Most of them have the plastic insert. Some of them have a clear cover. Like these little palettes, I mean, I can probably use these in one go, but in case I don't, I can just mark it on the cover. And again, alcohol will just take off the check marks if I don't want it on there, because it doesn't look that pretty. Oh, by the way, this is my project pan for 2025. I am including this. I know I'm going to touch every single one, but since it's 40 of them, I did go ahead and put this grid. I just want to make sure I touch all of them. When I start a palette, and I've been trying to use like the biggest ones first to kind of get them out of the way, I guess. I have them on a shelf, you know, except for this one because it's in the bathroom, but I just put a little sticker on it when I start it. And then I have a couple that I've finished, and then I write the date that I finished on the sticker. So when they're all in my shelf, there's some with stickers, some without, and it's going to be easiest if I just focus on finishing a palette and then move on to the next one, but I haven't done that because I want to use what I want to use. So for this video, I did go ahead and count all of the palettes that I used, every single pan. Some of it was easy because they were done. Others, I had to go through every palette with a sticker on it and count manually. If you have a better way to do that, let me know. Another thing I've learned already from doing this, I've probably been working on it for a few months. I don't know when I exactly started with the sticker idea, but it kind of went through some trial runs. But I'm using shades that I wouldn't normally gravitate towards, and I'm finding some absolutely stunning shades that blend really well, or they look really good with my skin tone. So I'm probably going to keep the hearts on here and really like go back to those. So it's really making me excited about what I have and helping me discover how I can use it. So let's get to some numbers, okay? And I'll try to show you the spreadsheet to see how I actually work it. First things first, I have a column of every single pan in each eyeshadow palette plus a 1 for the singles. And I have, right now, I have 114 of both. I have 114 palettes and 114 singles. I don't know if my inventory videos come out yet, but if it does, you'll see. But the pans, again, whether it's 1 or 72, has gone up from my last accounting of it. I now have, you ready? 1,844 eyeshadow pans. So whether they're in here meant to be used as a blush or something else, I'm still counting it. It's a pan in here. I can always use it for my eyes or just use it on other parts of my face. So those count. It's not just ones that are meant to be eyeshadows. It's in the palettes. 1,844. Including the singles, the average size eyeshadow palette I currently have is about 8 pans a palette, which was interesting. I should do one for just the palettes and not the singles and see how that works. My usage, again, after painstakingly going through and counting these, I have used, and some of them I've used before this project, but I'm, since I started counting is what I'm working with at this point. Because I want to make the check marks, I want to do the hearts, I want to do, whatever I end up doing with this. Maybe X one out if it's horrible, but anyway, out of the 1844, I've used 246. I felt like I was using a lot of eyeshadow, and again, I don't know how exactly long I've been using and counting them, but only 246. Now that is a lot of eyeshadow pans, but it seems so small compared to the total. It's actually about 13% of the total. So I have 1,598 pans left. I haven't swatched my 72 shade palette yet, so I actually didn't start there. But I did finish a few palettes, and one of those was the next biggest one that I have. It's a 52 shade palette by Profusion, and it's stunning. And it's got the blushes and some highlighters and some bronzers in here. Again, when I put them on my face, I checked it off. I have some definite hearts in here. There were some shades that I just absolutely adored, and I didn't even know were in here. I have a swatch video of this, so go ahead and check that out if you want. I finished this October of 2024, so I guess I've been doing that at least 2 months. Longer than that, because it took me a while to touch everyone on this. I don't like the way that sounded. It's also important to keep track of, like, the sheets to make sure they stay with the same palette, so I did write on them. So if I finished this in October, I had to have started in like September at the latest. So I guess September, October, November, December, 4 months to hit 246. I'm gonna jot that down in my spreadsheet because I'm gonna forget. I don't know how often I'm gonna be able to update you on this because it's a lot of work to go through every tagged palette. I'm trying to kind of focus it down so that I don't have to check every single palette I have. But when one is finished, I'll see that it's finished on the tag here. I don't have to keep updating how many pans were used in the new spreadsheet. And I don't have to show them to you every time. I can just kind of show you what I've used as I go. So I don't know, maybe every quarter, maybe every time I just kind of feel like it. I don't know. But yeah, I finished this one. These two You Can Be palettes are almost done, and there's another 42 shade one that's almost done. So these are going to be done, soon. I also used every shade in this new little Storybook Cosmetics palette that I got discounted. I'll just call it discounted. So this was 6 of them. This little Mally palette just had 2 in it, and I used both, so that was easy. And then I have a CoverGirl single that I actually use it as contour, but I used it on my eye just for this project. And a Natasha Denona topper that was given to me I've used since counting. And then these are the ColourPop Super Shocks that I've used. I haven't used all of these since the start of the project. Some of them I did. This purple one is new. But I marked them. I have hearts on some of them. I just pulled them as ones that I've definitely used. So it's probably been before whenever I started, September or August. But since they're marked in the same pattern and the same way that I've been tracking, I just decided to go ahead and do that. So, gosh, it hasn't been much, has it? 2 palettes, this palette, and these singles are finished. Obviously that doesn't add up to 246. And then I don't have to like bring these out again. They're marked. And then that was plus every other check mark that I put. So this is me keeping track of my makeup, of my eyeshadow. I have almost 300 lipsticks. I feel like I've probably used them all at some point because I get very excited when I get them and start with them. For now, I have my project pan. I have hauls every month-ish. I try to do hauls every month. I feel like there's other stuff that I'm missing that I do every month. And then there's this project too. So, I mean, I'm not going to pressure myself to do it every month, like I said. And I also don't know that I'm going to have much of an update every month. I mean, I'm trying to work hard on my project pan, so I have to keep going back to that palette. So what do you think of this project? What would you call it? Have you seen a hashtag somewhere else for this kind of project? Please let me know, because I would love to have some advice on like how this should go. But I think, like I said, I've locked down the way, the counting and the check marks and the stickers, all removable in the future. Whew, how do I end this video? I think those of us who nerd out on like numbers and, you know, how much makeup and how many products, and I mean, I do this for books too. I have all the books I own in a spreadsheet in case I'm out at the library and I'm like, do I have this one at home? I have over 2,000 books, so that's why it's hard to remember all of them, although they're all here for a reason. And I just posted my first book video rounding up last year. But this is my new project. Welcome. Thanks for watching. I hope this made sense. I hope I got everything out of my brain that I've wanted to get out for the last like 4 months. We'll see how this goes. Wish me luck. Subscribe so you can see the updates on this. Also, if I just give up, I'll make a video saying that as well, where I'm just like, it's impossible. Or, you know, after maybe a year into it, when I see how big my eyeshadow count is growing compared to what I'm using, I don't know. We'll kind of reevaluate, but I'm glad I can use this data. And I don't know, we'll talk to you soon. We'll talk to you next time, maybe in a few months, and see where we're at. Thank you for watching. I've been signing this off for a long time, but I appreciate you being here, and we'll just see you in the next video. Bye. I didn't even put earrings in. Couldn't find... I really want to get this right. I think I'm too low there. Crooked? I don't want to be crooked. So ever since that video, so ever since that totals video, can't I decide what I want to? Can I get to the bottom of the list to see the total right now? Yeah. Get over there. Okay. But when one